Okay, I have one more video to record here. This is another one of those oddballs where I did a live video and I uploaded it. It's called The Special Silence. And when I went to do the write-up to put out on Scribe to bring people over to the live video, it just went on and on. So I'm going to record the write-up now. So this is, again, 11/28 today, the first of the day. Mayan day for death or transformer, and it's the special silence, DNA changing automatically, enhanced sensing. And this is the written version. A surprise journal that came along when it was time to get ready for bed. Ha! So the mind might have thought anyway, but I guess not the heart. Now, not physical silence, but a certain energetic silence is necessary to our ability to attune, to pick up much of what is there for us, what always speaks. We just won't perceive this as long as the mental mind is in charge and jamming the channels with all of its chatter. We are all so united, so connected. We perceive this from heart. There are those so out ahead of the curve when it comes to connecting back to heart and Mother Earth and nature. Many gave up their media, their televisions, years, even decades ago. Most of us are maybe newcomers to this, but we're being supported by the solid, grounded energy of these leaders, these quiet way showers. We don't have to talk to communicate. We communicate the essence of our being 24/7, all the time. I have a new subscriber whose site is TheSilentTV. I've got a link in the description and in the transcript. It's pretty neat. What is really neat is this person's energies, very powerful. I challenge or invite everyone out to this site. Check your ability to tune in into this one's energies. He is silent in regular life as well, apparently. I feel the power of that focus, that silence. Yet, even though I feel it, I noticed a restlessness with the long silence, a tendency to stop the video on his site before it had ended. And it made me realize, sitting there, in the contrast of that man's energies and my own restlessness, that I wasn't firmly settled in heart. Just touching his energy helped me settle mine down. Maybe you'll find the same. We are energetically connected, all of us, by the very way and manner of our being. We either send frequency and energy of support and light to all others, or we do not. We send out maybe the opposite, energy that makes it more difficult for people to center, to be peaceful, to be in heart. We're loving beings for sure. That's our nature. In heart, our strong desire is to be of service, to support the highest and the best in our fellow beings, heck, in ourselves. Though we want so much to do this, unless we set the intent and muster the will to carve out some silence somewhere in our life, in our day, in our way of being, we won't be giving our best. You never know when that loving vibe you send out to the ethers, just by enjoying the beauty you see around you, just by maybe having a loving playtime with your child, your pet, when that energy might be just what's needed to tip the scales in balance of supporting someone making a decision for light, or someone who's down and out. You might lift them up. We don't know consciously, but somehow deep down we do know these things. Mostly until we're somewhat awakened, we tend to keep these things from ourself. No, not to the self. We keep them from the self. Higher self has no desire to overwhelm us, to share with us energy and understanding when we're in a state to guilt trip, to beat up on the self. Source is more gentle than that. Of course, no real blanket statements can be made. One can't generalize across individuals or about Source. Living and moving and shopping and eating and sleeping and just generally being in these boxes and containers, these buildings and vehicles all the time, really cuts us off from the sense of Mother Nature. From cars to stores to homes to office buildings, wherever we go, we tend to be inside opaque walls, floors, and ceilings, out of visible physical contact with Earth. Well, let's start changing that. Remember to expand past the limits of the form you wear, your body there. Drop down deep into the Earth and get a sense of the coolness, of the aliveness of that. Feel the little bugs crawling through. Make touch and contact with the Earth, with the sky, the trees, the squirrels, the birds outside, the breeze, with the snow or the rain falling, the beauty all around in the place where your body lies, sits, or stands there, or walks. Our senses are opening up. They are sensitizing more and more as our DNA is being rewired, reconstructed, and healed. There's no need to do anything special in support of this. It's just happening. Well, I'm going to take that back. The one thing you can do, drink lots of water. Loads and loads of water. Water is used as a resonance board for our DNA, according to the Syrian High Council. And they say that it's so important. And I've spoken out on this before. There's been research work done that shows that we have to be hydrated for the DNA to function properly. Even just 8% loss of body water fluids, and our DNA is it's in no shape to do anything. So if you want to get the best of things, drink those 64 ounces of water each day, at least. So, okay, it's finally time. The main thing Patricia Corey recommends is to get in touch with and abandon your fear to support your DNA restructuring. We all have that fear, you know, deep, dark, lying in wait there just beneath the surface of conscious life. We usually drive it there. This is one constructive thing we can do, is not be afraid of that, to face the fear and be with it, feel it. Sit down and just feel it for a limited time. You can do this. It doesn't have to be overwhelming. As we are no longer so identified either with the body or with the mind, it becomes significantly easier to do this. We're not so overcome by our fear. We recognize how that is mind that's in fear, and that's not really us. It feels like it as long as we're really identified with it. But when we no longer identify with it, it just feels different. It's not pleasant, it's not fun, but it's not overwhelming either. Anyway, DNA reconnection is just happening. Much is being hidden from us about our DNA. According to the Andromedans through Alex Collier, we have in our DNA 22 races of beings who have contributed to the human DNA we walk around with today. That's pretty shocking. I guess they don't want us to know, the government doesn't, that we have extraterrestrial ancestors. Even though our scriptures and folk tales around the world are replete with tales of the otherworldly beings who mated with us. We deny the heck out of this. We don't want to even look at it, don't want to put the pieces together. Well, it's time. Take a look at that. Don't be afraid. Or if you are, just be with your fear. While you're admitting to yourself there that you're not just the body and that you have many more concurrent lifetimes going on, since time is simultaneous in reality. Yeah, well, how about admitting in some of your ET genetics while you're at it? That could be fun. Certainly not boring. Let's all break out of the boxes we're in. That's what I'm doing all the time, and I love it, mostly. I don't know. Maybe I have the astrology or the psychology for it. I don't know why it's so much fun for me. Anyway, if I can infect you with some of this adventurous spirit, I'm hoping you'll have some fun with such things too. It really helps in breaking the mold of thinking we're the body, the mind, the physicality. We're that, yes, but oh, so much more. Well, I've gone rather wide afield from the live video this was meant to go with. Maybe I'll record this one too. We'll see what heart does with it. It's a new way of living that I highly recommend. You make decisions, yes, but it's entirely different too. Mostly the decisions are in the set of your sail, in the intent of your heart, in your attitude, and then you just flow. You leave the details to the heart, and it comes through every time for you. Sometimes you feel a bit awkward or unsure. So this is, again, 11:28 today, the first of the day, Mayan day for death or transformer, and it's the special silence, DNA changing automatically, enhanced sensing. And this is the written version. A surprise journal that came along when it was time to get ready for bed. Ha! So the mind. Most of us are maybe newcomers to this, but we're being supported by the solid, grounded energy of these leaders, these quiet way showers. We don't have to talk to communicate. We communicate the essence of our being 24/7, all the time. I have a new Okay, I have one more video to record here. This is another one of those oddballs where I did a live video and I uploaded it. It's called The Special Silence. And when I went to do the write-up to put out on Scribe to bring people over to the live video, it just went on and on. So I'm going to record the write-up now. I've thought anyway, but I guess not the heart. Now, not physical silence, but a certain energetic silence is necessary to our ability to attune, to pick up much of what is there for us, what always speaks. We just won't perceive this as long as the mental mind is in charge and jamming the channels with all of its chatter. We are all so united, so connected. We perceive this from heart. There are those so out ahead of the curve when it comes to connecting back to heart and Mother Earth and nature. Many gave up their media, their televisions, years, even decades ago,